Our eighth story out front, intense interrogation. The United States tonight interrogating Abu Anas al-Libi aboard a Navy ship in the Mediterranean. He is wanted in connection with the 1998 U.S. Embassy bombings in Kenya and Tanzania, in which 224 people were murdered, 4,000 more wounded. He's on that ship being interrogated, which is causing outrage tonight for some. Out front, Senator Kelly Ayotte. She says al-Libi needs to go to Gitmo for as long as it takes. Senator, great to have you with us. We appreciate it. I believe my understanding is you want al-Libi off that Navy ship and sent to Guantanamo. How come?
Well, actually, most importantly, what I want to make sure is right now he's on a ship. He should go to Guantanamo so that we can have a lengthy interrogation of him. Having him on a ship isn't a position where he should be, because that way they may have to limit interrogation. Make no mistake, al-Libi is an important player. It's probably the most important capture we've made in years. He had 2 decades of al-Qaeda involvement. He has direct connections and closeness to bin Laden, but also Zawahiri, the current leader of al-Qaeda. So my point is we need to maximize the intelligence gathering. Putting him on a ship seems more like a political decision as opposed to bringing him to Guantanamo for a lengthy interrogation. We know that these interrogations take more than days. They can take months and years to get all the information someone like al-Libi would have.
And you're saying that's not possible on board this ship?
Well, a ship is a temporary facility. In fact, I had asked, Warsame was another member of al-Qaeda that they put on a ship in 2011. I asked Secretary Panetta about that and other military leaders. And, you know, ships are not a permanent place where we detain people. That's what we have Guantanamo Bay for the detention and interrogation.
And let me ask you about the Gitmo issue. And we have a special report on this coming up in terms of some of the people who have been released, you know, returning to terrorist acts. Obviously, there's a host of issues. We've had the hunger strike that's been going on, once the detainees are there, you know, countries that they're from don't want to accept them when they get back. You've talked a lot about people returning to terror. The United States, you don't have prisons in the United States that are willing to take these people. It seems to be an intractable problem. Do you really want to add more people to Guantanamo?
Well, Aaron, Guantanamo is there right now. It's a top-rate detention facility. Yes, the people that have been released under both administrations, there's a 29% re-engagement rate where they've gotten back into battle against us. So we've got to be very careful about releasing people from Guantanamo. That said, right now, it is the detention facility that exists. To put someone on a ship, what's the reason for that when we should put him there? If there's a decision to change the location of our detention facility, people can be transferred. But again, Guantanamo exists. I support keeping it open. And why have someone on a ship? Because last time, Warsame, the interrogation lasted about 60 days on the ship. We're going to need a lot longer than 60 days to make sure that we get all the information that someone like al-Libi, who is a core member of al-Qaeda, has about the al-Qaeda, also his association with Zawahiri. And let's not forget, we captured him in Libya. What does he know about our attack on the consulate? Does he know anything about that?
Well, it's a fair point. No one's been accountable for that attack yet at this point, or had been held accountable. But what about this issue of Guantanamo versus the civilian courts? You know, enemy combatant. Since 9/11, there's been 400 prosecution of terror-related cases in federal courts in the U.S. As you know, conviction rate 90%, according to the Department of Justice, which is pretty darn good, because over the same time frame, there have only been 7 successful convictions in military courts. So,
well,
yeah, go ahead.
Aaron, I think that's a little bit misleading, because the administration has been very reluctant to try people in military commissions. That said, this individual, al-Libi, the issue is not whether he gets tried in federal court. He was indicted in federal court. The 2006 military commission law, the offenses that he committed were before that. So he could get tried in federal court. That's not the issue for me here. The issue is that he needs to go to Guantanamo first and be fully interrogated for as long as our intelligence officials deem necessary to get the information to protect our country.